Excellency, Governor of New South Wales, Professor Murray Bashir, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to pay a special tribute to the Governor because she is returning to her alma mater, from where she graduated not too long ago. So a special welcome for her. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great occasion that marks the fact, which is, I think, indisputable, that brain disorder is a modern disease. I say this not because it hasn't been around before, but because due to the fact that people are living much longer, a felicitous eventuality, and due to the fact that we have a better understanding of things, the recognition and the treatment of brain disorders have entered a new phase. It's a phase of unquestionable social importance. And the result is that people are becoming much more aware of it. Governments are getting involved. National budgets are bulging like aneurysms in this area, but it all requires research. And research is handmaiden funding. And that's where the Brain Foundation comes in. The Brain Foundation was established by a group of eminent neurologists and neurosurgeons in 1970 for the purpose of stimulating awareness of physical disorders of the brain, achieving funding for research. It's been a remarkably successful journey during which each year substantial sums of money are given for research. And in fact, this money is targeted in a specific way. As you no doubt are aware, governments do provide a certain level of funding for research. Physical disorders of the brain are a target for that, but they almost never give quite enough. And it's very frustrating for researchers to exist on those grants, and that's where the Brain Foundation provides a useful service. We have a tendency to top up the research grants that are being given. I think it's fair to say that until recently, the brain was a mystery embedded in mysteries, an uncharted sea full of shoals and untold islands, unknown and really part of imagination entirely. Things have changed in the last few decades. We have greater understandings, but the journey isn't finished. There's much left to discover. And our scientists, among whom there are researchers here today about to receive awards, are the explorers. They're exploring a domain which I think is fair to say is the final frontier of biology.
The Traumatic Brain Injury Award is funded by the Decimus Strachan Charitable Trust and Edith Sweeney Estate, and the recipient this year is Dr. Peter Crack from the University of Melbourne for his project Limiting the Damage in Traumatic Brain Injury.
Your Excellency, Brain Foundation board members, distinguished colleagues, I would first like to acknowledge the people I work with, Dr. Juliet Taylor, Dr. Moses Zhang and Mr. Robert Aites, who are key members of my research team at the University of Melbourne. 4 years ago, another one of my team, Dr. Lucy O'Donovan, fell down 2 stairs, not unlike the ones in front of you, and spent 3 weeks in an induced coma. Lucy was unable to return to work, and Lucy is still unable to work as a scientist. From that moment, traumatic brain injury became a major research focus of my research group. And I'm pleased to say that we feel that we are making some progress, and with the generous support of the Brain Foundation, we will be able to make more progress. We have identified what we believe to be a key molecular pathway that controls the neuroinflammation in the brain after a traumatic brain injury, and have identified a monoclonal antibody that blocks that response and is neuroprotective after the event. And serendipitously, there is a large multinational company that has a humanised version of that monoclonal antibody in clinical trials for something completely different. They don't believe that it works in traumatic brain injury. Hopefully, this grant from the Brain Foundation will convince them to translate this therapy into clinical trials, and so we can then have a first call therapy for traumatic brain injury. Thank you very much.
The recipient of the Epilepsy Award is also Patrick Carney from Austin Health, University of Melbourne and the Florey Neuroscience Institutes for his project, The Long-Term Experience of People with a New Diagnosis of Epilepsy.
Distinguished guests, Your Excellency, I'd like to extend my thanks on behalf of myself and my collaborators for the generous support of the Brain Foundation. The experience of the first seizure is quite frightening. As many as 8 in 100 Australians will have a seizure in their lifetime, and perhaps up to half of those people will develop epilepsy. Surprisingly, our knowledge of the risk factors to go on to develop epilepsy and the outcomes in these individuals is not as good as we might think it is. At the Austin Hospital in the early 90s, the very first rapid access first seizure clinic was set up. This enabled people with a new event, possibly a seizure, to be assessed quickly and seen by a neurologist with expertise in this area. This clinic has continued up until today and will continue forever, I suspect, and the same model has been taken up at a number of institutions throughout Australia and the world. We have a large database of patients who've presented, and we're currently in the process, in collaboration with Royal Melbourne Hospital, to review these patients and try and access them and try and gather information about their outcomes and their experiences of epilepsy. We hope that this will profoundly affect our ability to inform and advise our patients, to identify patients at risk and to assist them and to manage them more effectively, to improve their outcome and to assist them through this frightening experience. So the Brain Foundation will help us with this research, and I'm certainly grateful for that. Thank you.